Hey guys, bits, bytes, what does it all mean? How does it work with networking? Well, I'm going to show you all that now, so please click on the like, subscribe button, and be notified of any future videos, and keep watching. We'll show how all this fits together and clear up all the confusion right after this intro.
I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
So what is a bit? What is a byte? What's that got to do with me sending a message from my computer and making it across the street, across the town, across the state, across the world? And the internet and networking, and how does it all fit together? Of course, we like to start these videos with the basics. Coffee. So if I was talking about networking, binary, talking about all the ones and zeros and everything in computer language, with IP addresses, basically in computer language, you're always dealing with ones and zeros, ons and offs. With binary, the word bi means two, which means there's two numeral placeholders. That's 1 and 0. So when you hear the term bits and bytes in computers, it refers to a standard unit of digital data transferred over a network. So what's a bit? Computers use bit, which is short for binary digit, to represent information in digital form. Computer bit is a binary value, and the value of that will either be 0 or 1. When we're talking about bits and bytes, so a bit is just basically, whether it's carried by electricity, like in the case of Ethernet and a copper cable, a bit is just binary value which only has two values it can be, which is either a 0 or a 1. It's just one piece of data transmitted. So a bit is always either a 0 or a 1. Our whole world operates in this manner. Your light switches, or most of the time, unless you have one of the sensor switches or something, but most of the time it's either off or on. Any kind of circuitry on a keyboard is made up of a bunch of different components that either flip things on or off by electrical signals to make it do what it's going to do. So a bit is just a 0, which represents turned off, or a 1, which represents that bit being turned on. So I'll give you an example of that right now. Even our common light switch right here. So that's a 0, it's turned off. When I flip it on, it allows electricity, it becomes a 1. Now it's on, so that's a 1. 0, 1. So anyway, that's the most basic example. Sometimes if you look on the back of your coffee makers, you'll see a 0 and a 1 on the on-off switch. I'll show you another thing. I don't know if you can see this, but even a lot of times on any devices you see how that symbol is like a 0 with a 1 on it. I'll show you another one. It's a little easier to see that symbol. The on-off switch, which is right here, see that symbol is a 0 with a line going through it. Basically a 0 and a 1. They kind of combine the symbol to tell you that's the power button. So anyway, that's how easy a bit is. So what's a byte? Now when you look at a byte is a set series of bits. So a byte is a series of 8 bits strung together to do a particular purpose, to represent a certain packet of data. And I'll explain more of that as well. So a byte is a series of 8 bits. Now, when you see the term megabit or megabyte, that's usually denoting that it's dealing with bits or bytes in the thousands. An example of this would be that your home network might be able to download data at 1 million bytes every second, which would more appropriately be written as 8 megabits per second. So sometimes your measurements yield massive values like 1,073,741,824, which is how many bits are in a single gigabyte, which is a lot of the time written as 1,024 megabytes. And then the 1,073,741,824 is how many single bits are in that. I need more coffee after that. Seem confusing? It is. You get used to it though. Okay, so follow me here. Your computer uses lower and higher voltages to create bits, you know, from the devices on your circuit, your motherboard, and stuff like that. Now, in your network adapter, turns these bits that were created by voltages into ones and zeros so it can be carried across the network mediums. This process is called encoding. So I talked about the encoding, getting these electrical voltages into ones and zeros so they can travel across the lines. The type of encoding depends on the medium it's going to be going across, be it Ethernet, fiber, which is more light. People refer to as copper, the Ethernet, the normal internet cable that you plug in the wall. That's an Ethernet connection, and that carries your voltage with electrical signals. Now, Wi-Fi carries those bits using radio signals using different frequencies to get those bits. Fiber connections use pulses of light to carry those bits. So a byte is, like I said before, it's 8 bits, so it's just basically a fixed sequence of bits. You know, how many of those bits are in it. And what this does by, you know, putting, let's say, 8 of those together, that improves the efficiency of the computer, of the network, the sending it across, by grouping them into sequences of bits. So like 8 bits are in a byte. Now there's also a decimal system, which comes from the word deca, meaning 10. So there's 10 placeholders. So 0 counts as a number in networking and really is a real number anyway. So in the decimal system, it goes from 0 to 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's your 10th spot. Then it starts over at 10, which is 1, 0. Then 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8, 1, 9. Then it starts over at 2, 0. That's how our, you know, when we're talking about our age or our address on our house, a lot of that stuff is done in the decimal system. Your IP address, when you look on your computer, says 192.168. You know, those are decimal. That's called dotted decimal notation. And that's something that we see and understand. And then like an encoder on the machine encodes that IP address over to binary numbering system with a bunch of ones and zeros on it. And I'll show you that as well. Now when you see these, bits are always represented by the symbol B in a lowercase b. Like when you see kilobit, it'll be a capital K for kilo and then a small b. Megabit, same, capital M, small b. Gigabit, capital G and a small b. Terabit, capital T and a small b, etc. So bytes are represented by an uppercase B, like kilobyte would be a capital K and capital B. Megabyte would be a capital M and capital B. Gigabyte, capital G, B. Terabyte, capital T, B. So same, etc. Hexabyte, petabyte, you know, those are all going to be capital letters. Now here's kind of a conversion chart just so you can look at it, like it tells you 8 bits equal 1 byte. 1024 bytes equals 1 kilobyte. 1024 kilobytes equals 1 megabyte. 1024 megabytes equal 1 gigabyte. 1024 gigabytes equals 1 terabyte. So now when on your computer, if you were to go on the command prompt and do a IP config and get your IP address, you're going to see something like 192. This says 0.1, but you may see 192.168, in this case, .0.1. So it has the values 192, 168, 0, and 1. An IP version 4 address that your computer has is a 32-bit address. So that's 8, 16, 24, 30, that's 4 bytes is what makes up that address. So you have a byte that the values equal 192, a byte that's 168, 0, and 1. So they are encoded when they go through the computer to go across the line. That IP address would look like this as it's traveling across the line. I will be going over more on converting the binary to decimal, decimal to binary and everything. And you may be asking, do I really need to know this? Yes. It is very important to know, and you'll get more familiar, and you'll see how actually learning how to do this makes networking, subnetting, and everything easier, and you need to understand it for further things in it. So I will be covering that more. Right now I'm just kind of going over the basics. Hey guys, to see more videos like this, please click on the like and subscribe buttons down below, and click to be notified, and we'll keep making the videos and you'll be notified anytime we're putting out new ones. Thanks for watching.